Joining us right now is Fox News senior judicial analyst Judge Andrew Napolitano. What does this wiretap mean in terms of what the Obama administration had done?
It means that Paul Manafort will probably be indicted for something having nothing to do with Donald Trump or the campaign. My guess is, just from reading between the lines here, will be some financial crime for which they will indict him. Failure to report compensation, failure to register as a foreign agent while he was lobbying for or working for and receiving money from a foreign government. The reason I come to that conclusion is their original solicitation of documents from Paul Manafort was looking for evidence of compensation before working for Donald Trump. But there's a lot of other issues here that we can't bury. One is that the president's allegation that he was being, his wires were being tapped, his word, an odd phrase, but it's the terminology he chose, while he was in Trump Tower, are more likely than not to be true. Some of us have been arguing this for a while. Second, we don't know what kind of a wiretap this is. Now, at the risk of getting too much into the weeds, if this is a FISA court-authorized wiretap, because they told the FISA court that Manafort was dealing with foreign powers and they needed to know what the foreign powers were saying to him, then the evidence from the wiretap cannot be used in a criminal prosecution against him. On the other hand, if it is a regular Article III wiretap where the FBI goes to a judge in private, I received many of these when I was on the bench, and says, here's the probable cause that we believe this person's committing a crime, we need to dig a little deeper, and evidence of criminality comes from that kind of a wiretap, that can be used against him. But that raises the following specter. Jim Comey, while he was still director of the FBI, next to Mike Rogers, Admiral Rogers, the head of the NSA, both under oath, told the Senate Intelligence Committee, we know of no wiretaps in Trump Tower.
Right. They tried to discredit the president.
Correct. Now, how could Jim Comey not know of it if his own FBI had obtained it and it went back to 2014, was dropped for a few months, and then picked up again in 2015 when Donald Trump announced he was running for president?
So did he lie under oath?
It's the facts as they came out this morning are inconsistent with what he told the Senate Intelligence Committee.
Was Manafort in Trump Tower, particularly in 2014 when they started this whole process, and Trump wasn't even, seen as a serious candidate at that point?
Well, it makes you wonder if this was a intelligence-style wiretap to which Valerie Jarrett and Susan Rice had access. You know where this is going. Mm-hmm. Were they doing this so that they could tell Mrs. Clinton what Donald was going to do next in the campaign? That, of course, would be a very, very serious felony. Or was this a legitimate law enforcement pursuit of evidence of criminal behavior on the part of Paul Manafort? We don't know the answer to any of that yet. But like a lot of these stories, they raise more questions than they answer.
Judge, it would seem to me that the one takeaway for every viewer watching today, forget about Paul Manafort, forget about Jared Kushner and all these people. What this reminds us is, if our own government wants to get us, they will find a way, and they have unlimited resources to attack people who are citizens of the United States and to go after them. And if they can't find what they're looking for, they'll find something that has nothing to do with it. And even if they lose and the citizen wins, they lose because their legal costs have bankrupted them and their reputation is destroyed.
Man, I could not agree with you more, Governor. There are 4,400 federal crimes on the books, to such a level of detail that it boggles the mind. If they want to get you for something, they will. And if they want to ruin you, even if they're not going to convict you, as you've just articulated, and during the break you were telling me about how this happened to friends of yours, they can do that. But Bob Mueller is under pressure to do something, because the longer he takes in this investigation, the more it looks like a fishing expedition. Well, so he wants some action, he wants some indictment, and he wants the person indicted to start talking to him. And, of course, who's the target? Who's the crosshairs? The President of the United States.
Or anybody associated with him, past, present, and potentially future, because these special counsel investigations are catch-alls. They're dragnets.
Yes.
And so they will start looking at anything and everything that even smells like a possible crime that they could prosecute. prosecute.
We will never know the money he spent and the nature and how deep he dug until all this is over with.
Does Mueller get this, though, that the idea that these investigations can get out of control and that he needs to be focused and narrow on?
I am sure he gets it. I'm a fan of Bob Mueller, of his intellectual honesty and integrity. I'm not a fan of the techniques he's using, but regrettably they're lawful, and a lot of prosecutors do this.
But is the Department of Justice going to look at this? I mean, in terms of the wiretapping before and after the election? I mean, or will Jeff Sessions recuse himself?
Jeff Sessions has already recused himself. The Department of Justice is virtually being run by Rod Rosenstein. Jeff Sessions is off making speeches in Chicago about why they shouldn't have a sanctuary city, and Rod Rosenstein is directing these FBI agents to break down doors at 5:30 in the morning. Because the Attorney General has taken the position, much to the President's chagrin, as we know. President's chagrin is well documented on this one. Yeah. And we won't repeat the language the President is reputed to have used. But the Attorney General has taken the position, hands off on anything having to do with this. The more Bob Mueller expands, the less area Jeff Sessions has under his domain.
All right, we'll leave it there, Judge.
The President didn't want to hear that, but it's true.
Great insights, Judge. Thank you. Andrew Napolitano there.